The nation is preparing to mark the one-year anniversary of the deadly U.S. Capitol attack. And whether it's due to disinformation by right-wing media or just plain denialism, a large chunk of Trump supporters are placing the blame for January 6th on everyone but the former president.
It denies reality. CNN's Donia Sullivan joins us now. Donia, you've been speaking to these folks for months now. It's a minority, but it's one that truly believes this falsehood. I wonder, as you speak to them, why? Who do they believe? Why don't the facts penetrate the bubble?
Well, there's a concerted and sophisticated effort ever since the attack here in Washington a year ago to warp Americans' understanding of what really happened on that day. And in many cases, that disinformation campaign is working. Have a look.
January 6th attack was not the Republicans nor Trump. It was the Democrats were behind it all. They're the ones that caused it all.
Do you really believe that?
I know it. And there is no way that a Republican would act that way. And there is no way that Trump had anything to do with what happened on January 6th.
But what about all the Trump supporters that have been charged and indicted?
Because it's all Democratic judges and people that were on the take from the Democrats.
It's been a year since the attack on the U.S. Capitol. And because of disinformation, denial, and diversion, Americans don't have a shared history, a shared understanding of what happened here on that day.
I think the whole reporting of it is a giant hoax. We are very peaceful people. So it was a total setup. To me, it was the FBI had set it up. I don't believe that they were Trump supporters that did that.
You said the whole thing's a setup. You don't really believe that, do you?
I do. I do. Because Trump won the election. They've proven it over and over again.
I really don't think Trump had much to do with it than people that were supporters for him. Some were involved, but I think they were enticed by the FBI and by undercover agents.
When I spoke to Trump supporters here in Washington on January 6th, most were in denial about the results of the 2020 election. Do you accept that Biden won the election?
Absolutely not. Biden did not win this election.
On January 6th, we walked with Trump supporters who marched from the White House, where Trump was doing his speech, here to the U.S. Capitol. And as we arrived here, that is when the first security barrier was breached. At the time, some Trump supporters told me they were happy with what happened here at the Capitol. Are you proud of what happened here today?
Absolutely. I think we should have gone on in and yanked our senators out by the hair of the head and drug them out and said, no more.
I'm absolutely stand behind 100% what happened here today. 1,000%. It was terrible how this election was stolen.
Federal prosecutors have charged more than 700 people in connection with the Capitol riots and repeatedly documented the rioters' support for President Trump. But some people in right-wing media have pushed the dangerous idea that it was all an FBI plot.
FBI operatives were organizing the attack on the Capitol.
There is absolutely no evidence whatsoever that this was some kind of false flag event staged by the Democrats or the FBI. What would you say to people who say January 6th was the biggest attack on American democracy since the Civil War?
Absolute rubbish.
But amid all the denial and deflection, I met one Trump supporter who said it was important to be real about what happened on that day. What do you think of the Trump supporters that stormed the Capitol?
Oh, God. You talk about misfound feelings. Seeing the folks from my side of the state that were there, and they're not the part of the campaign that we would like to have.
Do you think some Trump supporters that say it's Antifa, it's Black Lives Matter, that they know that that's bullshit, but they just don't want to admit it's easier to blame someone else?
Everyone is afraid to, take the blame. It's that simple.
Yeah, a rare voice of reason there. Look, I mean, it is quite stunning when you see that we're only a year out from the attack on the Capitol, and it has been, the understanding of it has been deliberately warped to such a way. And look, you know, when people don't learn from the past, when people don't even acknowledge that something like that happened, and you pair that up with where we're seeing election deniers, election conspiracy theorists running to become election officials and oversee elections in states, it doesn't paint a pretty picture of what might come, what possibly could be to come as we go into the midterms and, of course, the 2024 elections.
It makes you realize how easy it is to revise history, right? This was just 1 year ago. We were all watching it on television. Not something we read in books from hundreds of years ago, just months ago. And yet so many people don't believe their own eyes. Donnie O'Sullivan, thank you so much.